Hey there, lads and ladies. Listen, it's been 3 weeks since we hacked some bits off these two bulbous green goddesses and potted those cuttings in order to proliferate this particularly pleasing pod of paw-like succulent green companions. So yeah, if you've been wondering how these cute little fuzzy green beautifully bulbous bitches have been getting along and are curious where we're gonna take it from here, then stick the f*** around, because Kalanchoe, Toby McSchmuter, the strikingly attractive Lady Space Cowgirl and I are fit to get into all that shit. Alrighty then. First, let's have a look at our two friends, Thomas Baker and Lakota. These two are the mother plants from which we hacked away the cuttings 3 weeks ago. Since the filming of that video, I've tried to give them around 5 hours of direct sunlight every single day, and then keep them in very bright indirect sunlight for the rest of each day. And hey, it looks like it's paid off pretty fucking well, because all the bits of stem below each of the cuts we've made have dried out nicely, and there seems to be a lot of new growth in the form of minuscule paw-shaped leaves near the bases of many of the sweet little fuzzy green branches. So that's pretty fucking cool. Listen, these two fuzzy bulbous bitches still have a ways to go, but I'm confident that if we water these two leafy green companions correctly and continue to keep them in the right lighting, by early summer after their springtime growing season, they will have filled in nicely and will hopefully be restored to the glorious state that they were in before we lovingly mutilated them 3 weeks ago. Yeah, lovingly. Also, I am tempted to fertilize them, but I think I'll hold off since the soil that I used in December to pot them into their current containers did have fertilizer in it already. I don't know, I'm kind of up in the air on that one. I'll probably do it. Anyways, let's check out the fucking cuttings. These bewitchingly beautiful bulbous green bitches are the cuttings that we hacked off of the mother plants that we just examined. 3 weeks ago, we potted them into dry, well-packed cactus mix and into draining containers. I went ahead and named this one here Sid, just because that name does a pretty good job of capturing the vibe that this little dude seems to exude. I haven't named any of the others yet though, so if you want to take a crack at naming one of these sweet little fuzzy green Cotyledon tomentosas, then make a suggestion in the comments, and if the name fits. Since the propagation video, I've been keeping Sid and all of his friends in very bright indirect sunlight, but out of direct sunlight. Indirect sunlight should be intense enough to give these sweet little green motherfuckers all they need to photosynthesize a brand new root system, but not intense enough to burn them up and dry them out before they've had a chance to do so. You'll notice that at least as far as we can see, there's not much new growth on any of these little dudes. And compared with the leaves on Baker and Lakota, the leaves on Sid and all of his friends seem to be much more wrinkly, and a few of them appear to have even begun to dry out. Hey, calm down, okay? Don't fucking panic. That's to be expected, because the growth we're hoping for, at least right now on these little green motherfuckers, should be happening, you know, down under. Listen, there are a couple of ways for us to find out whether or not these very recently potted leafy green cuttings have developed a root system. One way would be to rip these little baby bear's paws out of their container and examine them. Here's the thing though. Because we want these cuttings to survive, and because we're not stupid ass dumb shit, we're gonna take a different path. That's right, you guessed it. It's time to give Sid and all his recently cut fresh potted friends their very first watering. Now, because the soil into which these cuttings have been potted is sure to be very dry, it's going to take it a while to soak up this water. So we're gonna employ the water weight water method. It takes forever, but it's a great way to ensure that the brand new roots protruding from the bases of these leafy green succulents have a good chance to soak up some moisture. Okay, now that forever is over and these fresh potted funky green friends have had their first watering, we'll continue to keep Sid and his friends in some bright indirect sunlight, and if in 2 or 3 days these wrinkly leaves look less wrinkly and more swole, we'll be sure that they have in fact developed a root system, and from there we'll slowly transition them into even brighter light and probably even begin to give them direct sunlight. Alrighty people, now I don't know if you remember, but in addition to propagating these bear's paws from cuttings, we also did some experimenting with bear's paw leaf propagation as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's check out the fucking tray. In case you're not aware, this is what is called a succulent leaf propagation tray. And if at this time you're thinking thoughts like, what the is a succulent leaf propagation tray? Then check out this video where Yabanton Melon and I get into all that shit. Yeah. We constructed this tray about 6 weeks ago, and since then we've loaded it down with all different kinds of succulent leaves. Just like the cuttings that we just examined, I've been keeping this tray in very bright indirect sunlight. But unlike the cuttings, I've been moistening the contents of this tray every other day. Here we've got coppertone sedum leaves, and over here we've got burrito sedum leaves. These here are the leaves of jelly bean sedums, and these are the leaves of lavender scallops Kalanchoe. Each of those 4 types of leaves is making quite a lot of progress, especially the lavender scallops Kalanchoe leaves. I mean, wow. Just wow. And yeah, I've propagated all 4 of those types of succulents from leaves in the past, and this is pretty much what I expected. This is my first time to propagate bear's paw succulents from leaves though, and here's the thing about the bear's paw leaves, they haven't done shit. But you know what? That's okay. And at any rate, in the research that I conducted on the internet, pretty much what I gathered was that propagating bear's paws from leaves is very difficult, it takes forever, and it is a highly inefficient way of propagating this plant. And that is pretty f***ing consistent with my experience thus far. Yeah, I mean, hi. Do you like bad graffiti, worse jokes, wacky macrame, and pretty good advice about taking care of your houseplants? Well then f***ing subscribe. Thanks, Lady Space Cowgirl. That's right. Click that notification bell too so you never miss a new video.